Hello once again and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Off the Chain and a video game theory once again surrounding Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Let me give you a little back history before we dive into this video game theory. The first two love interest videos that we put out for Off the Chain on Link from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. These were my own personal theories and viewpoints surrounding a possible love interest. The first one being about Mipha, and then a possibility for the next game. That being said, Princess Faye didn't fully agree with everything that I put in those two videos, so because this is my wife, because I do love her, and because I do respect her opinions, I sat down and kind of took some notes on her personal viewpoints, her personal theories, possibly surrounding the next game. So, with all of that being said, this particular video game theory is for none other than my wife, Princess Faye Rue. Now, she does have a channel. She doesn't do a whole lot with it, but occasionally puts a video up there. We'll talk more about that towards the end of this video, but for right now, all I want all of you to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy this another Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild video game theory. The first thing that we need to discuss is Princess Faye feels that Link and Zelda could possibly become a couple. And this is very interesting when she presented it to me. And, you know, I kind of looked at what she had to say, and I had to sit down and take notes because she had a lot of information. And I'm going to try to keep it short, sweet, and simple. But, again, there's a lot of information she did present that just blew my mind. Okay, let's talk about, if you will, moments leading up to the Yiga clan attack. Now, if you're not familiar with that, we are going to go over that at great length in this particular video. And we have used a particular cutscene that revolves around a flashback that Link has in game. We're going to talk about that at great length. But for the purposes of this video, before the Yiga clan attack, Princess Zelda does not like Link. She views him as a sign of her own incapability of being able to unlock her own abilities to seal away Ganon. The way it works is that Link is supposed to defeat Ganon in the physical world, and then Princess Zelda sends him off to another realm. Okay? So all of that being said, because she's unable to do this, she resents the fact that when the King of Hyrule appoints Link to be her personal bodyguard, she completely resents that fact and doesn't want him along. So, at a particular point in game, which I don't have the video footage of, unfortunately, you know, I just haven't spent the time taking a look at it, but it is in game, so if you have a copy of the game, take a look at it. If you don't have a copy of the game and you got a Switch, go ahead and, you know, maybe pick up a copy. If you don't want to do all of that, just take a look on YouTube. There's plenty of video footage. And maybe at a later date, I might go ahead and pick up that footage myself and present it here on the channel. But for the purposes of the video, you know, Zelda's taking a look at a particular shrine, researching it, trying to figure out how it works, and she loses her temper with Link. She goes off on him, and it isn't good. She feels very, very badly about it. And so much so that we're actually going to go over her journal logs about that particular moment. So it is important to note that Princess Zelda loses her temper with Link. Now, you can actually see in that particular cutscene that Link is very bewildered by this. He's very confused. He doesn't know what to think. You know, and I can understand what's going through his head. You know, hey, I'm just doing my job. You know, My job was set down by your father to keep an eye on you and make sure you're safe. You've got an important job to do. You know, so I can understand his kind of feelings that, oh crap, I'm just, I'm doing my job here, and when she goes off on him, I can understand, how could you not want me along? Your dad sent me with you, and that sort of thing. So it's worth mentioning that he's very, very, he's very bewildered, and because Link really does not talk in game, this is where for him this has to be very strange for him. Okay, so it's important to note that particular cutscene. So that being said, let's go ahead and get ready to talk about Princess Zelda's journal entries. Let me take a moment and thank my lovely wife for helping me get this footage. This is actually Princess Faye's own save file. And on top of that, not only is it her own save file, she's the one who's actually taking us in. I set up the camera equipment and captured this. She actually takes us in. And for the record, as she's taking us in, I feel that she did 1,000 times better than I could have, because it would have just been a big rush job. And you wouldn't be able to actually sit there and read those particular entries as we're taking a look at this evidence. So, honey, thank you for the amazing job that you did. You did an awesome job, helping me get this footage so I can present your theory. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about when you open up the diary is she resents the fact that the king has appointed Link as her knight. We read about that in the first entry. By the next entry, she doesn't like the fact that he doesn't talk, which we'll actually figure out why he doesn't talk a little bit later in the journal, which ties into this particular theory. But she doesn't, because of the fact that he doesn't talk, she starts speculating whether or not that, if he feels that she's a failure, which makes Princess Zelda resent him even more. So through their travels, Link's not saying anything, so she's getting more and more angry with him because of this. So much so that here in just a moment, and I'll mark this moment so you could kind of go back and review this at great length, but it's right here. She's researching a shrine. Things aren't going her way. She loses her temper and yells at Link. She'd actually told him to stay behind. She didn't want him around and that sort of thing, so she loses her temper. But at this particular moment, she's not quite ready to make amends and straighten out that mess. But she does wonder how he feels about her, losing his temper. So, but in the next part, she talks about how she was getting ready to actually be killed by the Yiga clan, and because she'd already yelled at him and everything, she can't believe how he rushed to her side and saved her. So this is important. She's writing about it, and now she's willing to talk to him in the next entry. So in the next entry, she starts talking to him, and she can't believe how much he can eat. And if you know anything about the game, that boy can eat. But she starts talking to him and trying to, she apologizes. But then, as she's talking to him, he opens up and starts talking about why he doesn't talk. Because he feels he's got, that he's got to carry this burden of being the one who carries the Master Sword. Because of this, he doesn't talk. It kind of feels he's got to carry that burden. And now Princess Zelda sees him open up and begins to see deeper into, this whole world that Link lives. And this is where Princess Faye honestly starts believing that the feelings between Link and Zelda begin to travel from, just princess and appointed knight, but it starts to travel into that world of where they could possibly become a couple. So, because of this, every cutscene after the Yiga clan attack, we begin to see Link and Zelda start to become very, very close. And, it's very important for us to remember this. The rest of the journal entries is more or less bent around the fact that at any time that Calamity Ganon could return, and it looks very, very bleak. And she talks about Link accompanying her. But there's no real other talk except what we see in the other flashbacks. But there is more evidence to suggest, not only from these journal entries, but from the flashbacks, and even the end of defeating Calamity Ganon, that suggests that Link and Zelda could become a couple by the next game. Now, in the next scene that I'm about to show you, this is the scene where Princess Zelda is about to be killed by the Yiga clan, and it doesn't look good. But out of the clear blue, Link arrives and kills one of the Yiga clan members. The others take off. They don't want to mess with Link because he's a tough guy with that Master Sword in his hand, and they don't want no part of it. Live to fight another day. But you'll be able to see how Princess Zelda's eyes soften. How she can't believe that he came to her rescue. This is important to note, folks. I mean, here he's ready to throw it all down and really, whomp these guys, and she can't believe that after she had yelled at him, he came rushing to her side with no care for his own safety. And you could really see that in her eyes. So you can really see the feeling soften. In this particular scene, you could really also see how they have gotten close since being able to talk and Link has opened up. She now understands that he doesn't say much, but there's no reason for him to say anything. She understands that he's carrying a big weight on his shoulders. And to be noted, when you actually look at this scene, I mean, they're very comfortable with each other, but in this particular moment, Link's got his eyes on her, but it's not that lustful look that so many people would think nowadays. It's that I'm looking at the woman that I could be with. You can see that soft, loving look in his eyes as he's looking at her, and of course he then turns his attentions to what she's trying to show him. And of course, what's so hilarious about this is how she tries to get him to taste a frog. If you've played the game, you'll understand how that works. But, you could just, again, see how comfortable they are with each other, and you can see the way Link looks at Zelda. Now, in this particular flashback that you can unlock in-game, we know that Link goes to take on the Guardians, and we know that the fight doesn't go good. The reason why he may have to do this is still up for speculation. But the long and the short of it is, Link is mortally wounded. It's not looking good for our hero. But Zelda's trying to convince him to run, and he's not having any of it. He's going to fight to protect her. And of course, Zelda realizes that he's going to take a shot, and he's going down. What does she do? She finally realizes how to unlock her Ganon sealing abilities, and of course stops those Guardians in their tracks. Now, Princess Faye brings this up that the way she throws herself in front of him suggests that she's in love with Link. And of course, when he falls, the way that she cradles him also suggests that he is now more than just her appointed bodyguard, but Link, that she's very much in love with Link. You can actually see her genuine concern for someone that she has serious loving feelings for. Again, Princess Faye pointed this out to me, and I was like, well, I never really thought of it that way. And even so much so that she realizes that he can be saved, sends, Sheikah tribe members to take him to the Shrine of Resurrection. And of course, we know that Link will be resurrected 100 years from this event. But it is important to note the way that she's holding him, the way that she starts to cry over him, that this goes beyond just general concern for her personal bodyguard. This goes to the point of someone who is madly in love with the man who just protected her. Now, in this particular cutscene, it should be noted that Princess Zelda has taken the Master Sword, all banged up, to the Deku Tree. Now, she places the Master Sword in this particular pedestal, and she starts having a conversation with the Deku Tree. Says that her work is unfinished. She knows she's got to hold off Calamity Ganon until Link awakens. Now, however long that may be, but she knows that she has to wait for him. She tries to tell the Deku Tree that when he does arrive to pick up the Master Sword, to please relay a message. The Deku Tree refuses that message. He doesn't want to hear it. He thinks it would be better if she gave it to him once Link rescues her. Now, this is important. We never find out what that message is. Even at the end of the game, we never actually find out what that message is. But I think it's safe to say, without too much speculation, that the Deku Tree knows full well that that Princess Zelda is very, very much in love with Link. So much so that that's why he doesn't take the message and wants Link to hear it from her own mouth that she's in love with him. So Princess Faye pointed that out. I was sitting there going, well, I guess I hadn't thought of it that way. So again, Princess Faye brings up a good, valid point that that Princess Zelda and Link could possibly become a couple by the next game. But there's still further evidence that shows more. Let's take a look at that evidence. All right, let's talk about these next two cutscenes, and then we'll go ahead and bring it, go to a closing segment, because this video is actually a little longer than I anticipated. But let's talk about this one first. We've just beaten Ganon. Battle's over. We've won. Princess Zelda is now saved, and Link walks up, and she starts talking to him, basically saying that she knew he would always win. She never lost her faith in him, things like that. Calls Link the hero of Hyrule, and then she basically then asks the question, do you remember me? And the way that she does it suggests that she has very deep, loving feelings for him. So, again, Princess Faye pointed this out, so possibly by the next game, we could see Nintendo actually explore this. Now, in this particular cutscene, they're in a field, they're talking about Mipha's father, the king of the Zora domain. And as they're talking, the way that Zelda, is talking about Mipha's father, you could tell that she obviously wants to offer him some closure on the passing of Mipha. And, of course, the way that you could tell she's talking about it, she knows how Mipha felt about Link, those sort of things. You could kind of see that, because at one time, going through the DLC flashbacks, that Mipha and Zelda were friends. So knowing that, and the way that so obviously she knew there were some feelings between, Link and Mipha, but now that that's over with, the way that she turns to Link suggests that Nintendo, again, could be toying with the idea of of a love interest between Link and Princess Zelda. Again, Princess Faye pointed all of this out, so thank you, honey. Again, opening my eyes up to the possibility of there being that love interest. Again, I had my own thoughts, but she really presented something powerful. We sat down and she had me take notes, and I was blown away. That's one of the reasons why this video took so long, because she had that much information to present to me. So, again, thank you, honey, for, I guess you could say, just blowing my mind with this theory. So we're going to go ahead and cut away and add a close to this. So I will talk to all of you on the other side of this. All right, folks, there is Princess Faye's very own personal video game theory on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Honey, I want to thank you for letting me kind of sit down, pick your brain, and make a video based on your own personal theory. It was amazing. And again, for all of you who do not know, Princess Faye, my wife, has her own channel called, it's just titled Faye Rue. She's got she started to do a playthrough of a video game way back when, and it was my very first crossover, and I kind of learned some stuff about myself from that crossover. At the same time, she occasionally puts up a cute cat video or whatever, so it was awesome stuff through and through. She just doesn't push the content, and so let me tell you, my wife's an amazing woman. I wish I could do more to show her that she's an amazing woman, but to be able to showcase all of you that she's very intelligent, just an amazing woman all around here on the Prince Magnum channel, just goes to show how lucky of a guy I really am. So, that being said, that brings us to a very, very good point where I'd like to go ahead and throw out some shout-outs. Let's shout out these wonderful folks right here. These are people that continue to help push the content right here on the Prince Magnum channel. And when I say push the content, I'm not talking just getting my name out there, helping people find me, and getting people to come over and check out the channel and that sort of thing. But these are also people that continue to push me to make the best possible content I can. So I want to thank these folks for continuing to push me to go further and farther than ever before. So all of you out there within the Maverick Nation continue to grow and hopefully be inspired to do what you do best. All right. As usual, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for all of you out there, if no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.